Hello, you're watching Dreaming Stories and I'm on. Today I decided to give a go to a Booktube Newbie Tag. First question of this tag is, why did you decide to start your Booktube channel? I think I already tried to cover it in my first video, as I already mentioned, but I will try to explain it here, maybe in a bit of better way. So I've been reading for a long time, since I remember myself as a child, and this is my um, favorite hobby, my favorite thing to do when I have free time. But recently I just realized that probably not many people around me actually read books, and I don't really have this safe outlet for myself to discuss books. I've been watching lots of booktube channels online, and I really love many of them, but I just felt I don't really have this dialogue with people, and I can't really discuss books I've read myself, and I can't really get this more like personal recommendations. So I just decided to try to give it a go myself. So we'll see how it will go, but yes, I'm actually very excited about it. So wish me luck. The second question of the tag is, what fun and new things you can bring to the community? I can't lie, I find this question a bit intimidating as a new booktuber. And just personally, I'm not sure you can actually say what sort of new things you can bring to the community. To be honest, um, I'm not sure I can bring anything new, to be honest, because there are so many wonderful people online and they're discussing pretty much like everything. And I think everyone can find something that works for them and in some sense unique and suits them best. I just hope that my channel and my way of presentation um, will be more interesting to some other people, so I'll be able to build my own community. I think we are all unique in our own ways, but at the same time, saying that I can actually bring something new and exciting, I think it's a little bit of a bold statement, to be honest. I'm not sure. I just, especially in the beginning of the journey, when you're still trying to find yourself, your ground, and literally like searching for yourself and trying to find a niche for your channel, I think you can't really genuinely say what sort of new stuff you can bring to the community. I really hope I will be able to find this niche for myself, but at the same time, I feel like at this moment, at this stage, I'm just trying to find myself. So I find this question very intimidating, as you can see, but I'll try my best. I'll feel I have a long way to grow, and hopefully I will be able to achieve the vision that I have in my head of myself, of my presence online, and how I can talk about books and discuss about books and just have this wonderful adventure with you people. But yeah, I am not sure I can actually reply to this question in any sensible way, I'm afraid. So we can just pretend we don't have this question. Hopefully, we'll see. The next question for this tag is, what are you the most excited about this channel? I think there are several things I'm really excited about. First of all, the fact, as I already mentioned, that I really hope to be able to build this wonderful community of friendly people that we can discuss books, discuss other things, and just be nice to each other and have this wonderful adventure, because I think all of us need a safe outlet in our lives and just comfortable, be cozy, and be able to express ourselves. Another thing that I'm really excited about is probably an opportunity of self-growth. I'm not sure if other people mentioned it, but probably it's on many new YouTube channel founders' mind. That when you started, at least for myself, I feel there is a huge road ahead, and I see that there is a huge opportunity for self-growth. Because in my case, first of all, which is pretty self-evident, English is not my first language. And I'm extremely, extremely self-conscious about it. I know that sometimes I appear very cringy on videos. I'm really trying to work on it. But I understand that sometimes I'm not very eloquent or fluent in my videos. So for me, I feel that it's a huge opportunity to grow in this direction, to be more comfortable, to be, like just more comfortable in my own skin and just accept it and be happy with it, and not to be afraid to talk to people, even though sometimes I feel, yes, my accent is not perfect and I don't think it will ever be perfect, even though I've been living in the UK for the past 12 years probably. But I know that I will probably retain my accent forever. I just, I just need to live with it. And to be honest, in my everyday life, I don't really feel such a emotional strain, let's say, or pressure that I really feel my accent. But when you start filming yourself, and you start looking at yourself on videos, it's a very different experience. You start seeing yourself from the side that you don't really do in your daily life, and you start noticing these things that you don't really notice daily. Yeah, especially in my first video, I was so cringy when I was watching it. I was really afraid to upload it because I know it just made me uncomfortable. Just to be honest about it. But at the same time, well, that's me. I can't change it, and I just need to be more comfortable about it and probably just be more genuine and more open, and hopefully I find people who will appreciate my style, and we can just become friends, and I can accept myself better. Another thing about self-growth, I think, like, when you start your YouTube channel, you just learn so many new skills like editing, how to make thumbnails, lots of the sort of technical things and knowledge that you acquire, but probably you necessarily would never be able to actually acquire if you don't need to. And I'm so grateful for it. To be honest, I was silly and I watched so many videos by other creators about why you need to start your YouTube channel, even if you're bad at it. But I know at the moment I'm not very great at it. Hopefully it will improve. Many people in those videos pointed that even if it's not great, it doesn't matter. Just be happy that you're learning something new. And that's how I'm trying to approach my project at the moment, that I'm potentially building this community. I have an opportunity to meet new people, to talk to new people. And at the same time, I am learning new skills that otherwise I probably would never learn. So I think these are the most exciting things at the moment for me. And probably if I think hard enough, I will come up with some other things. But yeah, this is something that pops up in my head at the moment. So the next question of the tag is, why do you love reading? It is a tricky and not really tricky question for me, to be honest, because I'm not sure I have alternatives. Well, I used to have an alternative because at some point in the past, when I was in the uni, I wasted a few years of my life being a gamer. So I used to be absolutely addicted to video games. Yes, and I would say I pretty much wasted a few years of my life dedicating every free hour of my life to gaming. Uh, that stage passed, and to be honest, I don't feel that I have any other sort of hobby that I do during my free time that really captivates me as much as reading. As I mentioned already, I've been reading since childhood. Reading was my main source of entertainment. I don't necessarily like watching TV. I do have TV. Honestly, I never even switch it on. I have no clue why I have it. I never use it. I just don't enjoy watching TV. I do enjoy watching movies. I do go to cinema from time to time, but it's definitely not on daily basis. So on daily basis, I would say when I have some free time, I just enjoy reading. It just stimulates my imagination, my thinking in such a special way that it feels magical, and I love everything about reading and around reading, to be honest. I know it's probably not a very environmentally friendly way of putting it, but I'm a book collector. I have bad issue with buying books because at the moment I've been trying to control it. I think I'm failing miserably. I feel like I tend to buy more books that I can actually physically read. Uh, it's sort of shameful, but not at the same time because I just really enjoy it. I don't really do much of other shopping. I'm pretty calm about clothing and other possessions. So I think the biggest spending for me outside of necessities, let's say, is just books. I just love books. I love looking at them. I love having them on my bookshelves. And it just, the feel of them when I touch them and the smell, it's so wonderful. Probably it's a bit weird, but I especially like smell of older books, this like older paper. I just absolutely love it. So I just love everything about books, everything surrounding books. So yeah, the whole experience just feels magical for me. And since I've been a child, I always dreamed of having a huge library in my house. Well, I still have to work on it. At the moment, we don't really have bookshelves. I hope it will happen at some point. But yeah, at the moment, I'm lacking bookshelves. So if you've seen my previous videos, you know I just have some stack of books behind my back, jokingly saying that they're just like for the sake of showing that I actually have books. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have bookshelves at the moment. I really hope it will change so I can put them in a nice way and just admire them in my free time. Next question of the tag is, what book or series got you into reading? To be honest, it's very hard to remember what I was reading as a child. I remember at some point I was absolutely captivated by the Jungle Book. I don't know how many times I've read it, at least five probably when I was a child. I was just reading it over and over again. I really enjoyed it. Um, the same story happened with, I'm struggling to remember the name of that book, and I had a few books by this author. His name, I think, is Gerald Dower, and the book I remember is My Family and Other Animals. If I'm not mistaken, I should probably check it. I'll probably just put it on the screen just not to confuse people. I was recently thinking to actually buy it again and just read it and try to relive these special moments that I had as a child. I absolutely loved his books. He's basically talking about his family and different animals they had, and he's describing all these animals and relationship with them. It's like it was so magical. I absolutely loved it. Um, at some point, I was really into some series of uh, detective stories for children. I don't remember the name of the series or any particular book out of the series, but I remember I was just binge reading them. I got them from a local library, so I didn't really have that series. But I remember I really enjoyed that one. And I don't know, I read so many things. The thing about my home library at the time is that we had a huge bookshelf with lots of books, and I didn't really have much supervision in terms of my reading. I'm not sure it's really good thing or is it a bad thing. I don't know. I think I'm absolutely neutral about it, since because it was just my childhood and my experience. But my parents weren't really checking what sort of books I was reading, so I had absolute freedom in terms of reading. And I read lots of age inappropriate books, let's put it this way, at different stages of my life. Um, I don't know, it didn't really scar me, but some of my choices were definitely peculiar, let's say, and definitely not age appropriate. But the thing is, I think my parents were just happy that I was reading, and they were trying to encourage my love for reading. My mom was trying to buy me different books. We had beautiful covers um, of different books, and I just loved it. And sometimes I would just go into the bookshelves and checking what else I've got, and I just picking it up. Maybe it wasn't age appropriate, some of the books, but I just enjoy the process. I enjoy the journey, and yeah, I think the whole experience just of this freedom and this ability to escape, it was just wonderful. I remember I was absolutely addicted to Ursula Le Guin. Um, what is it? FC trilogy as well. I have it actually in an omnibus now. I really need to read it just to relive this moment and just actually check if I love it in the same way as I used to love. But when I was a child, I used to have this book separate, and they were absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I vividly remember experience of reading the stories. I absolutely loved it. So yes, the sixth question of the tag is what question would you ask your favorite booktubers? Mm, I think in my case, since I'm a bit struggling with finding my niche and just with my self-conscious way of looking at my videos, and I know that I have a long way ahead of improving my presentation and just being more comfortable on the camera, I think that would be my first question. How people became comfortable on the camera, how they found the way of presentation, because pretty much everyone has their own unique way of presenting themselves on the videos and talking about books or about any other topic. So I think I'm very passionate about discovering this thing because I feel I have a lot to learn. I think this would be my first question to booktubers that I follow, how they actually found themselves online and how they became comfortable on the camera. And the second question is probably how they actually found their niche, because I know and I see from other booktubers that channels vary in their styles and presentation and about types of books people are talking about. But as already mentioned in my first video, I personally a bit struggle to actually categorize myself in terms of what sort of genre I prefer to read. I feel I've been trying actually to stick to certain genres, like for instance fantasy. I think fantasy is still my predominant genre, let's say, because I love fantasy since I was a child. But I feel when I keep reading the same genre for a long time, I just put myself in a reading slump. I don't think it's very healthy for myself, and I'm trying not to really strictly categorize myself in terms of my reading. So I'm a mood reader. I'm switching genres from time to time and just trying to pepper my reading with different books, different genres. Like recently, for instance, I got really sort of fascinated by classics again because when I was a child and when I was going to school, yes, school program was very heavy on classics, and nothing is wrong with classics literature. I think it's wonderful. It's classics for a reason, and we should understand that. But sometimes when you're a child, you probably can't fully sometimes appreciate the beauty and the message of it. And you just find it boring and tedious, especially some of the books. I'm still not sure that some of the books are suitable for school program because, for instance, I remember when I was attending school, I read pretty much all classics on the program. I was a very good student. I had perfect grades for literature, but the only book I didn't manage to finish, it was Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Oh my God, I found it so tedious. And I remember I found a very silly way of trying to force myself to actually finish it because I was a good student. So I really tried. So I found this like jar of pickled mushrooms that I absolutely loved. So I opened them, and for every few pages I read, I had a mushroom. Unfortunately, the jar finished before I finished the book. So I actually I never managed to finish Crime and Punishment. Unfortunately, I feel I need to give it a go now since I'm a bit older and hopefully wiser since I finished school. But yeah, sometimes I feel some of the books in school programs are probably not really suited to young readers, and they just bore them and make the experience of reading not this wonderful and magical experience, but actually tedious. And sometimes just people develop this dislike for reading for the rest of their life, which I found so sad because reading is so stimulating and so freeing. And yeah, I think sometimes school program really should work on it, to be honest. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't read classics at school. I think we definitely should do it. But I think sometimes it should be peppered with some, let's say, more fun books that are just for pure escapism and for the joy of reading and just create in children this feeling of wonder, of adventure while reading, and not, as I said, reading with just academic effort and struggle. The next question from the tag is what challenges of starting your booktube channel are the hardest to overcome for you? As already mentioned, I think my biggest challenge at the moment is just to be more comfortable with myself in front of the camera. Yes, I can't just watch myself on the video. It just terrifies me. I don't feel comfortable. I know I never thought that it would be so difficult to talk to a camera because experience is so alien. I'm not so cringy in real life. Obviously, when I talk to other people, I'm more fluent and hopefully more fun. You never know. I should probably ask them. But I'm definitely just more comfortable and a happy person. But talking to a camera, I just feel so self-conscious and so uncomfortable. Just very difficult for me to overcome. I feel I need to work a lot on my speech, on my delivery. I noticed I use lots of filler words just because I'm so uncomfortable talking to a camera. Yeah, it really affects my speech. It affects the timbre of my voice, the speed of my speech as well, and the just general delivery of the message I'm trying to convey. And I think the stress of it just really impacts my vocabulary as well. So I think this is the biggest challenge for me at the moment. And another challenge, very unexpected. I was complaining about that to my partner, which I found very silly. I think probably I should have expected it. I found it peculiar. Um, I started this BookTube channel, and at the same time, I realized that with the start of this BookTube channel, it takes so much of my effort and time at the moment. I don't have time to read books, which is absolutely silly. So I have a dilemma at the moment. I have a BookTube channel that I hope to grow and to improve myself and to be able to actually talk to people and build this community. But at the same time, I feel I don't have time to read books, which is very controversial. How can I talk about books if I can't really even read them? So I need to work on it. Probably when I'll be more comfortable on the camera and just more experience in making videos, I think probably it will take less of my time and effort to actually film and edit everything. But at the same time, at the moment, it takes so much of my time. I'm struggling to actually read books. I really hope it will improve because yes, at the moment I'm just struggling. So I think this month wrap up will not be very exciting, even though I read very good books. But I think in terms of numbers, well, yeah, we'll see. But at the same time, I sort of don't understand how other booktubers manage to read, like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 30 books a month. How? People, how do you do that? I don't get it. I don't know. I think on my normal months, I probably read between maybe 5 and 7 books a month. So I feel now I have pressure to actually read more, but I don't think it's a very healthy pressure because we are reading still for our pleasure, to have a good time and not to prove that we can deliver these numbers. I don't think this race of numbers is very good for your reading, for your experience, and just enjoyment of it. So I don't know, I still need to think about it and try to find a way to work around it. And probably it will improve. But yes, I think these are two biggest challenges, for me at the moment. So the next question we have is, when did you start reading? To be honest, I'm not sure I remember the exact age when I started reading. It was definitely around probably 6 years old, because my grandma is an ex-teacher, so she used to be a teacher at the time when she was teaching me to read. So she had a mission to teach me to read. My grandma is a very forceful person, being a teacher. There was no escape. She was relentless. Obviously, as a child, probably not many children are happy to be forced to do something, this sort of forceful learning. I was complaining, I wasn't happy about it, but I think she persevered. She was relentless in her mission. She managed to teach me to read, and since then, it was wonderful. I just started reading everything I could since I managed to actually learn to read, because um, I think this was the best mean of escaping, like escapism for me, to visit this wonderful magical worlds and experience some things that I would never be able to experience in real life. And it was just so magical to be in other people's shoes and be just different people, different characters, and I don't know, fly dragons, go through magical doors, and all this like absolutely amazing experiences. I loved that, and I never stopped reading since then. Even let's say a school period when you're absolutely bombarded by this heavy classic books, it didn't deter me from reading. Um, it still stayed with me. So I don't know. Yeah, I never lost the passion of reading since I was a child. So I guess thank you for my grandma that she was so perseverant in her mission of teaching me to read, even though, yeah, I probably gave her a very hard time at the time because I was very reluctant to learn it. But she opened this new world for me, and now I'm very grateful for it. Well, the ninth question we have: where do you read? Well, I read everywhere. I always have a book in my handbag with me, and whenever I have a chance, I try to read. It just relaxes me and gives me this wonderful feeling of entering this new world and new experiences. So yes, I'm pretty much reading everywhere. I have lots of books at home. I always have a book in my handbag, and I have a huge collection of audiobooks on Audible. I definitely have a problem with audiobooks because I was so excited when I joined Audible at some point. I was buying lots of books on their sales, like I think they have sales like 3 to 1 or something like that. I don't remember already. All these sale books like for £3 or something like that. I made the mistake of buying so many of them. I have more than 100 audiobooks on my phone. There is no way I'll listen to all of them. And I bought some books that, for instance, now I realize that I just not my thing, not my genre, and probably I will never listen to them, but I still have them. So yeah, I read everywhere. And the second to last question in our tag is: what kind of books do you like to read? Well, as I already said, I struggle to try to categorize myself in terms of my reading. I think this year my most read genre is still fantasy, which is, I think, it's pretty much consistent for quite a few years already. Second genre is surprisingly horror. I think I was very excited this year about Halloween and this spooky vibes in October. So I read quite a few horror books in October, and I keep reading actually horror books this month. So you will see them in my November wrap up. And after that, I just followed by literally fiction, sci-fi, classics, mysteries, and historical fiction. I think I definitely need to read more historical fiction. I think I should be really prioritizing it probably next year because I've heard of so many wonderful historical fictions. I was really surprised about some historical fictions this year that I read. And yeah, I really need to give them a better chance. That should be my priority probably for the next year. I think it's just easier for me to tell what I usually don't read. So I am not a big reader of poetry. I pretty much don't read poetry. And I think it's just limitation of English being my second language. I just don't feel very comfortable reading poetry. Probably I just don't really understand it very well, let's say. Yes, I need to work probably in it, but at the moment, yeah, I don't really read much poetry. And another genre that I mostly don't read is romance. I know it's very popular, just doesn't work for me. I don't like it, I don't feel it. I find it usually irritating and cringy. Uh, I I don't know. I think it's just my opinion, and definitely take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it just all reading experience generally is a very, very subjective experience. So any sort of opinion that you hear from other people online or in real life, it's just their opinion. It doesn't matter. You do you. But in my case, what I found irritating in a romance genre, I feel that in order to make it sort of entertaining, authors tend to create this sort of drama and suspense and like will they, won't they, and this sort of different tricks that they use. I find majority of them just toxic. I am proponent of very stable, boring, and just mentally healthy relationship. I don't think that good relationship should be full of drama. If you're always on edge and you don't know what's happening and there's always this suspense and drama and lots of suffering, I'm not sure it's very healthy. Yeah, and I don't like it in books. So yeah, that's probably the reason why I don't like romance books. So unfortunately or unfortunately, I don't know if you really like the genre, you probably will not see much of it on my channel. And finally, the last question of the stack is what your book collection looks like. Well, as already mentioned, I don't have bookshelves. I can't display my beautiful collection. I would love to. It's just not the case at the moment. I'm working on it, and hopefully we'll be able to install some bookshelves. I have some ideas where to put them. But yeah, at the moment, I just have literally stacks of books. I'll probably just take some photos and pop them on the screen somewhere. But this is just part of my collection. Half of my collection, more than half of my collection, actually, in my previous place. So yeah, my book collection is broken at the moment because I have part here and bigger part in my previous place, just sitting comfortably there actually on bookshelves. Yeah, um, you will not see beautiful and cozy and exciting bookshelves. I'm really sorry about it. Hopefully in the future, I definitely intend to work on it. So I really hope you enjoyed this newbie book tag. Um, I feel I have a long journey ahead of me, but I'm very excited about it, and hopefully you will find my videos interesting, entertaining, and you'll come back, like, subscribe. I don't know how people say it, but yes, I would be happy if you come back and watch my videos and we can talk about things. And please comment about your bookish experience, what you like about books, what you don't like about books, and if you can relate to certain things that I covered in this video, I'll be very happy to discuss it. Thank you and see you next week.